our operation budget is around 4.9 million this year. We serve 3 different healthcare industries technically. I was a little nervous about having another remote company because of what we had went through, but I will say we saw a difference almost immediately. It has worked out beautifully. I hope you guys are around forever because I'm probably going to be a client for a very long time.
What is up? My name is Dylan. I'm one of the co-founders of STAXX. I'm here with my business partner, Alex, who's the other co-founder. And we're also here with Katelyn from Lumina. And we're just going to talk through her experience working together. So why don't you just introduce yourself, maybe talk briefly on what it is you guys do, and we can go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for having me. I'm Katelyn Cooper, the Executive Director of Lumina Hospice and Palliative Care in Corvallis, Oregon. And we are a homegrown, community-grown, nonprofit hospice organization that has been around for 45 years.
So awesome. So awesome. And I'd love for you to talk about maybe what the prior state of the accounting and financials was, before we met and started working together.
Okay. Inconsistent is the first word that comes to mind when you ask that question. So we were not getting timely financials. We weren't getting explanation on the financials. We had outsourced it to a co-organization prior to finding STAXX, and it just was not working well. And it had not been working well for several years. I came on board in an interim status in September and started noticing that we needed to make a change and reached out to Dylan and Alex.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And you guys as a nonprofit too, there was often a good amount of approvals that had to be made beforehand, right?
Yes.
To the board,
Yep.
all that good stuff, which puts a little bit of nuance on the typical approach to accounting, because nonprofit accounting is a little bit different standards, different reasonableness tests, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and then we bring another layer too, because we have Medicare cost reporting, because we have several lines of business, and we have hospice cap reporting that comes off of our financials. So it's like a triple layer with us.
And what was like the immediate big lift that you saw when you did jump in and start working with us? Was there anything just right off the bat where it was like, oh, this is way better and different and awesome?
I'd say the timeliness and the responsiveness. I was a little nervous about having another remote company because of what we had went through, but I will say the Slack channel, the team, the communication with your team was immediately an improvement for us. There's always some getting to know each other type stuff, but the responsiveness was great, and we saw a difference almost immediately. And we required quite a bit of cleanup. So you guys were also our cleanup crew for the beginning of 2025, new chart of accounts, all of that stuff, switching to a new accounting system from NetSuite back to QuickBooks. So, I mean, there was a big lift at first. It was a lot to take on for both of us. I was nervous, and it has worked out beautifully.
It was, yeah. And also, I think it was great to be able to get Kelly in. And I think that goes to the responsiveness of Slack. At least we found it's user-friendly enough to where if people aren't in Slack before, it's a quick orientation. And I'm glad that Kelly was able to come in. And I think we may even have one more from your guys' team. Is that correct? Or is it just you and Kelly?
It's just Kelly and I right now. Shalena, who processes the mail, will be coming into that channel probably early in 2026. But right now, the flow's working great. I don't want to change anything. We're still stabilizing. And I like the way it's working.
Yeah, that's one area where people do get really nervous, is when, you get some legacy businesses that have been on QuickBooks Desktop forever, for example, and they come to us and it's like, hey, well, we're going to migrate you to QuickBooks Online because Desktop is losing all of its support. It doesn't have as many integrations, all this other stuff. So I'm glad to hear that moving from, and I believe we moved you from a different provider as NetSuite, if I'm not mistaken, into QuickBooks. So I'm glad to hear that process was smooth as well as the ongoing, because oftentimes when you are switching accounting providers, there is that upfront lift early on, but then over time, it's like, I'm glad we did this. So I'm glad to hear that was the case for you guys as well. And Alex kind of touched on it earlier, but I know your situation is a little unique too, given that it is a larger company that's been around for a long time. There's a lot of, stakeholders in the board of directors. How has having, a better financial picture, more timeliness on the reports, allowed you to communicate with your board of directors better? Like, how is that? Has that had any effect on that side of things?
I would say the transparency has gone a long way. So getting timely financials and seeing what we're going through, and they're not 3 months behind when I present them to the board of directors, and they can see the month to month comparisons over the budget, and just your guys' flexibility in customizing the statements. I'd say your team, we've had to make a couple of adjustments. They've been great about explaining them. And then also just my time with Devin gives me direct comments. Devin has also offered to attend the board meeting. So if we were going through a bad financial situation, she said she'd hop on those meetings, explain it thoroughly, and just that flexibility, transparency, and timeliness has helped me as an executive director lead my organization properly. With efficient information, and them to trust me that we're getting reliable information.
That's huge, because it is, at the end of the day, you putting yourself on the line by extension through us. So that trust aspect is big, and I love to hear that, because especially the customization. I think with every client, we kind of have to meet them where they are to a degree, and so I think I do remember, even just adding some context to the reports, like some management notes and disclosures there, just to be able to paint that picture a little bit more with our visual reporting. I know that was an ask of you, and that was helpful, and I agree. Like, especially if you have multiple stakeholders looking at something, the context is big there, so that also you're not having to go and try to reinvent the wheel and explain everything top to bottom when you do meet.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say, getting a 14-page document that they get multiple before a board meeting, they're not reading the whole thing. They're looking at your guys' comments. They're seeing the images of, net income. They're focused on the big picture stuff, but it's still helpful for me. I got to comb through that report and see, okay, where do I need to be making a difference? Where are we spending too much money? Where do we need to bring in more income? Those types of things. But yeah, it's been, your guys' reporting features are customizable enough. It meets all of the needs. It meets my needs as an operational director, and it meets the board's needs. Like, they just want an overview, big picture, how we doing, presentation.
Yeah, and that's one of our big philosophies on the CFO and the reporting side is, just because we can track something doesn't necessarily mean we should, right? Like, we don't want to send you a 100-page report tracking a bajillion things, because that's not useful either, and it just eats up a ton of your time. So, just the idea of like, let's dial in on the things that are really most important and make sure we're hitting our targets for those, typically leads to the outcomes that you're looking for. And that was what I wanted to ask next. I know we talked about how it's helpful with the transparency to the other stakeholders in the board and things like that, but how has the CFO reporting and your one-on-one time with your CFO enabled you in your role as a director specifically in terms of the day-to-day and the decision-making?
That's kind of a hard question, because we've been in repair mode, to be honest with you. Like, I haven't gotten an opportunity with Devin to really talk about, okay, what does growth look like? Because we had so much ground we were making up, and systems we were putting in place and stuff. So I don't have an in-depth answer for that one, but I look forward to getting to that place with Devin to start establishing that, because she is a wealth of knowledge. We just haven't been in that space yet. But if we keep trending the way we are right now, our census is growing, the financials are looking much better. I'm really looking forward to getting to have more in-depth conversations on growth and goals and that type of stuff with her.
I appreciate the uniqueness of that answer too, because in a way, there was a lot of layers to peel back just to get you to the point where we can now start looking forward, especially with like, because you're not the only one. Like, there's been, plenty of clients where it has sometimes been a struggle to migrate things over from a prior firm or a prior solution that you had, even just down to getting the access to specific reports that are like, that we need just to do what we need to do for XYZ thing. But I'm really glad that, because that was a pretty large catch up project with all the different layers added in. And at least I think just it's got to be a sigh of relief, at least across the board, for you guys just to know, like, okay, at least the prior stuff is done and we have some visibility now. And now it's like, okay, how do we take this to the next level and leverage Devin's strengths?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I know we've talked about working with Devin. She's great. But what's been the experience working with the other team members? So when you work with us, you get an entire, accounting and finance team that plugs in to facilitate these things.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what your experience has been with some of the other team members that are, on your account.
Yeah. So I don't know her actual title, so I'm sorry, but Talia organizes everything. She does the chasing for meetings and making sure the stuff's going over. So she's awesome. Raleigh is awesome, very responsive, even when I feel like I'm asking a dumb question because I am new to the finance side of things. He says it pretty transparently. I could ask the same question 10 times. He's not going to scold me for it. He's just great. Like I said, the responsiveness in Slack, I'm impressed with across the board, whether that's messaging you, Alex, Devin, Raleigh. I think even a couple times Cindy. Raleigh was out. I reached out to Cindy. The whole team has been absolutely wonderful. And I will say it definitely goes to show that you guys on the back end of how you lead your organization, the team like cohesiveness, even if they are all remote, I don't know, but I don't feel it because I get responses to my questions in a timely manner and they all work very well together. And that's one thing that I like in our channel too. You can see them communicating with each other if one of them doesn't have an answer to my question. So I think it's great. The whole team, the whole package works so well together, and the timeliness with things and it's affordable, very affordable, and it's flexible, and you're treated like a person. Like I hope you guys are around forever because I'm probably going to be a client for a very long time.
We appreciate it.
We
appreciate the kind words. It's really like one of our biggest core values really is the responsiveness piece, just because we know in our industry specifically, the standard is kind of on the floor in terms of that. I mean, I talk to, multiple business owners a day that are just like, I can't even get a hold of the guy that's supposed to be doing my stuff. Like it takes weeks. I can't even get on his calendar. And, when you're growing a business and scaling, or if you're in repair mode, trying to do a turnaround, not having access to those professionals and getting your questions answered and being left in the dark is really just not an ideal state, right? So just having the access is something that we're really, really big on. So I'm glad to hear that that's been your experience, because that's exactly what, we've been really intentional about curating for a client like yourself. So that's really awesome to hear. So now that you have, an accounting and finance system plugged in place, firing on all cylinders, what's your confidence level, through the rest of this year and then moving forward across the next few years? Do you feel like you've have the systems in place where you can, continue moving forward on the finance side?
With you guys, yes. We have a great system. I have no changes to it. Internally, still got some processes that I want to clean up that's going to only make your guys' information better. And it has to do with accounts receivable and accounts payable type situations. And the timeliness of getting things into our systems to get you guys the reports that you need. But other than that, I don't have any changes that I would ask of your team. It's going great.
Awesome. Now, and just to give, people watching kind of an idea, I mean, obviously you're in the healthcare space. The company's been around a really long time. But maybe just to give the folks watching a kind of an idea of the size, could you maybe talk about the operating budget a little bit that you guys are working with on an annual basis?
Yeah. So our operation budget is around $4.9 million this year. We serve 3 different healthcare industries. Technically, we have the hospice line of business that can serve anywhere from 300 to 500 patients in a year. We have our bereavement, which is not a income generating, that's a charity side of it. And we have house calls, which we are only a year and a half in, and that's our home primary care based program, which is growing faster than we were prepared to support. So our business size is going to be growing just based upon need. So that $4.9 million operation budget was for 2025. I will start building the 2026 budget probably around September to see what that's going to be, but it's probably going to be larger.
Awesome. Growing up and to the right.
Yeah.
Just keep going. No, that's awesome. And if somebody's, watching this video, and especially if they're watching to the end, they're probably, heavily considering, working together, or maybe even just booking a call to have a conversation with us. But, to somebody that's kind of on the fence and trying to decide if they should give us a shot working together, what would you say to that person?
Go all in. Go all in. don't let your fears stop you from going all in, because it has benefited my organization so much, just having the timeliness of the financials. It was a really scary time when I made the decision to go with STAXX, and it not being local, we're in Oregon, made me nervous as well, but they have done a wonderful job, and I would not go back on my decision at all.
I think that's really special too, because like, you know, at the end of the day, there's a very real impact that we continuously remind myself, Dylan, but also our team members, like there's a very material impact that our clients are going to receive from this. And the more we can support them in their business, especially, I think it's even more fulfilling, gratifying that we can augment you guys as a nonprofit to do more good. I think is really, really enjoyable to hear. And I appreciate all the niceties that you sent our way.
Yes, thank you. Well, thanks for providing a
No,
great product. If that's service, product, kind of all of the above, in my opinion.
Of course, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep improving and growing, same as you. And hopefully we can keep working together for many, many years to come.
Yes, I look forward to that.
Yeah, if you're, you know, kind of on the fence or need to book a call or whatever, you can do that at a link below. Definitely look forward to talking to you. And Katelyn, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Katelyn.
Take care.